Hello everybody, Cody here from Minimus Wargaming, here today with you guys with a tournament recap from the perspective of my OCR Bone Reapers that I took to a local AOS tournament at Montague's Games here in Pearland, Texas. If you guys are in the local area, I'm going to have the video description containing the link to their store if you guys would like to check it out. A guy that runs the place is a very nice guy. Definitely recommend talking to him and getting to know the place if you're in the area. So with that being said, what you're seeing on camera right now is obviously game one on table one. So I'm facing Gavin Grigger. If you guys are in the local Texas scene or maybe even elsewhere, you might know who Gavin is. Gavin is an extremely well-versed Age of Sigmar player. He is a very, very genius general when it comes to this game. So, needless to say, the moment I knew that I was playing Gavin game one, I knew I was going to have a tough game. So, Gavin has played in a many a GT and many a tournaments with multiple different armies, and this is the first time I've seen him using this particular army of Slaves to Darkness, and this is my first time facing an army like this that he has. So he's going all Tzeentch kind of style focus, and he has Archaon the Everchosen. Now, I'm going to do my best to message each of the players and get their list outlined and have it in the comment section below for you guys to view, rather than me sit here and talk for 15 minutes about something that I may or may not know very much about, because I don't have the book to that army, so I'm not even going to try to explain the rules because I don't even understand it myself. So basically how this game went was my Bone Reapers deployed second, and thus Gavin forced me to take the first turn. Basically, all that happened with that was I literally did not move. I fired my Mortek Crawler at his, I believe you call it the Chaos War Shrine or whatever that thing is called, and he used his Fate dice to pass all 4 saves, and that sucked for me. Needless to say, after that, the game was pretty short-lived because of the high amount of reach that Archaon himself has, as well as the Tzeentch Flamers, or Flamers of Tzeentch. All these demons had pretty much struck straight forward towards my lines. The mission being Starstrike, Gavin knew that if he could play extremely aggressive against me, Bone Reapers being a relatively slow army, he knew that he could deny me objective and board control. Which, genius idea. That is how you beat Bone Reapers, is you either aggress on us very hard or you hold us in place. Or both. So basically what happens after that is he managed to get his Marauders to teleport behind my Mortek Crawler, which I really should have saw coming, so that was a really boneheaded move of me to not prepare for that. And he brings in a crap ton of Chaos Marauders behind me, and he has a crap ton of Chaos Marauders in front of me, and then I have to worry about Archaon and Flamers that are in my face. He also went ahead and summoned up the Geminids, and they're right in front of my lines. So I'm pretty much boxed in. So with Bone Reapers having pretty much move characteristic anywhere from 4 to 6 inches, excluding the Cavalos Death Riders, I was quite literally stuck. Nothing could fly over that stuff, so I was quite literally stuck. So Gavin made a genius play here, and it was a very short-lived game. Due to how long it took our turns, and how long we may or may not have been talking the entire time, and BSing because me and Gavin are both former Marines, and we had a lot of stories to tell each other, and we were having a great time, we didn't get as far into the game as we wanted to. We got to turn 2, and I conceded just because we didn't have enough time to really go too far into the game, and I already knew where it was, because Archaon is going to pretty much wipe out a 10-man unit of Mortek Guard, and he's also going to kill 2 out of 3 Necropolis Stalkers, and then the rest of my army is either locked in combat or stuck in the middle of the board, not being able to move, due to that terrain piece that you see in the middle of my army, as well as the Flamers being up there with the Geminids. That was pretty much the first game. There's really nothing you can do about that. If you get stuck, you get stuck. And on a mission like Starstrike, it's very unforgiving. If you cannot get to a certain part of the board very fast, or have the maneuverability to get into or out of combat as you wish, that's a death blow for your army, especially for OCR Bone Reapers. So I know in the last battle report, a lot of people have been sitting there saying, oh, OCR Bone Reapers are so OP, blah, blah, blah. They're really not. I'm going to be the first to say it. They're really, really not. There's a million ways to beat them. They're just as beatable as any other army. Granted, I'm not running Petrifex Elite, so it does rely on me using Relentless Discipline from Catacross, and I don't have unlimited range on it either, and you can debuff me to decrease the range if you wound him a couple times. Yada yada yada, I get it. I'm not running the super meta list anyways, I'm running the same exact list that I ran in the previous battle report. But they're not OP. They're definitely very strong, but there are certain armies that are just going to smoke them. There are certain missions that are going to smoke them, and there's just certain playstyles that are going to smoke them. Plus, I would argue that OCR Bone Reapers do require at least a high degree of skill to play, which the problem in this battle is that me and Gavin are both highly skilled players, and the problem is when Gavin gets the advantage of the mission on me, it's very hard for me to outmaneuver him in any sort of way or fashion. And that's pretty much it for game 1. The game 2, though, is a little bit better, and it's a little wonky. So in game 2, what ended up happening was my opponent had dropped, and I was without a game for about 30 to 45 minutes when Tim, the TO, decided to hop in as a fill-in and play me. I wasn't allowed to get anything more than a minor victory at this point, which really sucked. But what ended up happening was I played against Mawtribes. So Tim is really cool. Tim is a really good friend of mine. He's former Army, so we BS with each other quite a bit because former Marine and former Army and active duty Army and Marines never get along, but jokingly. And that's about how the game is going to go. We were having a good time. What ends up happening between us is it's very complicated as to what's going to be going on between how Tim is trying to push up towards me and how I'm trying to push towards them. So he's running a bit of a funny battalion with these two giants, and they end up failing a charge. They fall on each other. They deal mortal wounds. It's just a big mess. Tim rolls really bad with his lead belchers. He rolls really bad on his charges. The first charge he makes is with his Tyrant, and he rolls boxcars, and he accidentally kind of did that because the rest of his army then failed their charges, and his Tyrant was caught out of position right next to Catacross, fighting 20 Mortek Guard. He did manage to kill a few of the Mortek Guard, but when you got let's say 10 plus Mortek Guard buffed from Catacross and right next to Catacross, they're going to deal a lot of damage. The Tyrant didn't last long, unfortunately, for Tim. And then what happened after that was my Mortek Crawler opened fire on my turn and completely annihilated his 6-man unit of lead belchers. I believe it was 6-man. And they died. That was really upsetting for Tim. After that, it was pretty much a straight-up slaughter. I had my army kind of divided in two. I had Necropolis Stalkers charge right up the middle into his Gutbusters. And, well, I say Gutbusters, but Mawtribes. He charged right up the middle and took the fight to his Iron Guts. His Iron Guts were pretty much annihilated except for maybe 1 or 2 models. And the Necropolis Stalkers also died. But they took quite a few of the Iron Guts with them. And the rest of the battle was pretty much back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, with me gaining more and more ground. The problem in that mission is that as I'm moving forward, it doesn't help Tim that I got really hot on my rolls and was able to deal an incredible amount of damage at range, but also the fact that I caught one of his key heroes completely out of position and eliminated him on turn 1. What didn't help even further for Tim was the fact that as I eliminated certain key parts of his army, I was then left free to maneuver as freely as I wanted to. So I was able to move Catacross here and there. I was able to move the rest of my army just kind of wherever I needed them to, rather than keep them in certain buff ranges for Catacross. I was able to start moving them around freely to go engage as they see fit. And that's pretty much how the game went. It ended up coming out in a major victory for me, but because of the amount of time, it had to be labeled as a minor. Do I know the specifics as to why? No. Not going to question it. I already knew once I lost the first game, I was out, so I was just trying to have a good time from there on in. And I was. So pretty much how that battle turned out, model-wise, is I think I'm more or less table which everybody feels bad about, but not really. But overall, I had a great time. Tim had a great time. This is the first real time that I got to test out this list in a completely different sense, whereas I spread out my army rather than cluster them very tightly like I did in game 1 of this tournament and like I did in the previous battle report. So I was spread out completely thin, and it actually ended up working out pretty good. So game 3, however, is going to be something completely new to me. Game 3 is against a fellow named Nathan Nguyen. And Nathan is very, very nice guy. Never met him before in my life until this. Bless his heart. But he's playing Cities of Sigmar, and he's a newer player. So Tim came over and talked to me and told me he was a new player. So I was helping Nathan here learn as much as he could, while also not trying to just grab him by the neck and make him have a bad time. Basically, how this game goes out, though, is that he's running the Hallowheart Cities of Sigmar, and he has a lot of stuff to shoot at me. I think he's got 30 handgunners, he's got the rocket battery, he's got like 30 or 40 halberdiers, he's got a general and griffin, and he's got 2 or 3 units of Demogryph Knights, all sorts of fun stuff. I don't know the specifics of the list, guys. I'll get that at a later time, and I'll post it when this video uploads. And you guys can see it in the comment section. So how this game ended up going was Nathan had a bit of a weird strategy. So this is 3 places of power, I do believe. Can't remember the exact specific mission. I'll probably have it in the comment section. Having trouble remembering as of right now, considering my BCP app is also not working. Don't know why. But how this mission ended up going was that I went first, so I surged forward towards him as fast as I could while also keeping my key units in cover. I had my Mortek Crawler fire straight over into his halberdiers because I knew they were going to be one of the most aggressive forces trying to take objectives. I knew I could probably handle a few Demogryph Knights, but I wasn't sure about 30 or 40 halberdiers. Did quite a few kills onto the halberdiers. The shooting phase, and then combat, nothing happened. Went over to Nathan's turn, and he went ahead and moved up his entire army pretty much to take me on, except for his handgunners and his, whatever you call the weird globe fancy thing with all the magic, and the Hurricaneum. And the rest of the army did move up to aggress on me. However, what ended up happening was I positioned 10 Mortek Guard with another 10 Mortek Guard on the flank in cover, along with both heroes, which is Bone Shaper and the Soul Mason. They were all in cover, along with Immortus Guard right behind them. So he tried to swing at my heroes. Having a cover save helped me, as well as having the Immortus Guard there to tank some wounds. Ended up not losing my heroes, and the Mortek Guard were able to fend off the Demogryph Knights. And then the Free Guild General took a little bit of damage, but as it turns out, on the left-hand side of the board, nothing really too crazy was happening. The handgunners were still out of range at this point. I ended up getting a charge off on my Necropolis Stalkers into his handgunners, and Nathan shot all 3 of them to death when I charged. So that was pretty bad. But I had 20 Mortek Guard make it into combat, take the objective, and that was pretty much it. The left side of the board, I had objective control. On the right side of the board, I did not, but I was winning that fight there from the get-go. Just purely because Nathan could not kill my heroes like he planned on, and if you can't kill death heroes quickly, it's going to be a very major problem as the game goes on. What ended up happening after that was we rolled for turn initiative. I won, so I took turn 2, and when immediately I encircled the Free Guild General and the remaining Demogryph Knights with the 10 other Mortek Guard and sandwiched them, and I had them completely surrounded, and the Free Guild General, as well as the Demogryph Knights on the right-hand side of the board, which is farthest from the camera as you're seeing, was killed ultimately in the end. So by turn 2, I controlled that objective. I also fired my second volley of shots from the Mortek Crawler, but this time I used the Cauldron of Torment, and I ended up inflicting 15 kills on the Halberdier unit and effectively crippled it. And that was pretty much it for the right-hand side of the board. Nothing too much of a concern happened from then on in, and I had the right-hand side of the board completely in my control at that point. Left-hand side, though, however, as you can probably see on screen, is I'm starting to lose models quite rapidly. Did have Catacross push up. He was taking some wounds That's fine. He can heal, whatever. But the handgunners there are the major problem, as well as Nathan's several heroes. The way the mission is going is that I can't possibly try and get that objective because not only does he outnumber me model-wise, but he has way more heroes, and it's just Katakros left at that point. The Mortek Crawler's not too far away, but it's trying to come help. As the mission turns out, though, I end up barely surviving with Katakros. I end up getting a very much needed charge off onto the objective. Katakros goes in, slays 2 of the heroes that are there. I can't remember the exact names. I'm pretty sure one of them was just a battle wizard, and then one of them was a on-foot free guild general. I can't remember exactly. 2 very low wound count models. Katakros killed both, did a lot of damage to the Hurricanum, and that was pretty much it over the course of those next 2 turns. Katakros ends up ultimately dying to the Hurricanum just because it's just crapping mortal wounds out at him, and then the nearby handgunners really didn't help that either. And that was pretty much it. So at the end of turn 3, Katakros went ahead and died, but by that point I'd already racked up enough points from the right-hand side of the board and contested the objective on the left side with my Mortek guard on turn 1 to give me a 1-point lead against Nathan. And so in the end, I ended up coming out on top with a major victory, but only by 1 point, and very much so on the word I'm going to use is barely. That's how I won the game, barely. If Nathan would have been a little bit luckier in his dice rolls, he probably could have had me on the right-hand side. And his free guild general, if he would have stayed alive a little bit longer, it would have been way better for him. But unfortunately, that didn't happen for him. And unfortunately for me, I did lose Katakros, and that always sucks. But Nathan did really well. So don't ever feel a little flustered if you're a new player or a veteran. I'm finding the new players, as long as you're nice to them and you just help them learn, they're going to come a long way. As long as you guys are good sports about it, everybody's going to have a good time. I had a great time. I have a great time whether you're a veteran player or a new player. And I had a good time. I wish you guys could hear the audio. If I unmuted the audio, your guys' eardrums would explode with how much audio feedback is going to just flow the microphone, because this microphone can pick up a mouse farting from 200 yards away. Or if you use the metric system, meters, because you're weird. But that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to have random clips just floating around to show you guys more and more of the battle. These are all sped up, otherwise this would be like a 6.5 hour long video, and I doubt anybody's going to sit here. You could probably watch a good half of the Lord of the Rings trilogy in that time instead. Much more worth it. That's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys would like me to talk more about it, feel free to jump into my Discord, message me privately, or comment here. And if you guys would like me to do more just sit and talks and just record audio and talk to you guys about certain issues, let me know. I will talk to you guys in another video. Hope you guys enjoy. See you guys later.